Welcome, I'm Jeremy Taylor, the Brit on the radio in your lugholes, and let me welcome you to yet another Wednesday Night Undressed. And if I may, I'll gently introduce an amusing application of elusive alliteration used with the pointed pungent of perspicacity, a thrilling threnody of rapturous rippling rumbustious. In other words, our panel for tonight, the indefatigable and somewhat indomitable, but always irrefutable, Kathleen Taylor.
I am impressed by that introduction, Jeremy.
Here,
Really
here.
impressed.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You want me to say it again?
Please don't.
No.
All right. The man who was once thought lost to legend and recently resurrected, Jason Springer now.
JT, what's good?
What's up? The Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature and Pheromones, Mr. Ivo Ivanov. And who else have we got? Ah, yes. Chris Magerkurth is here tonight. And then we have Dr. Orlando.
Yo.
Yeah. And then we have Dr. Orlando.
Hello.
That's better. Try and, little upwards effort there, Mr. Orlando.
Very well. Hip, hip.
Yes. All right.
Now I almost, every time you introduce me, I just kind of want to go,
So, let's start with the first question. I'm thinking about family at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Would the panelists give our listeners some advice on how to deal with the following conundrums? A, be in 2, 3 or more places at once on the day. How to explain to family that you want to be with friends rather than family. How to avoid the unpleasantness that always comes on the day. And good excuses for staying at home in front of the fire. Let's start with Jason.
Well, as far as being in multiple places at once, that is something that I do have to deal with, because with having numerous families and divorced parents, every holiday it's Thanksgiving. It starts at 11:30 at one house and it starts at 4 o'clock at another house, and you just have to kind of pace yourself. And the nice thing is, if times don't really meet up with expectations, it's okay. As I've gotten older, the older adults in my life, parental units and other family members, if I'm a little late, they're okay with that. As long as I'm at least present and show up, that's really all that matters. And I found that throughout life, the older I get, that's really all family really cares about. As long as you just are somewhere present, or even if you can't make it, you can avoid the whole needing to be there just by giving, if you're in one house, give the other house a phone call at some point, and then boom, you're done.
So do your family members schedule the dinner so that you can attend both?
They do.
Uh-huh.
They are accommodating in that way. Yeah. That is true, which is handy. Now, as far as excuses for staying home, I'll take any excuse to stay home. Yeah. Honestly, some of the best Thanksgivings I've had, I was actually here, and I didn't go to Kansas City at all. I just came in to watch football and have a beer. That was probably some of the best Thanksgivings I've ever had. Yeah, because there was no family pressure. There was no.
What about Christmas, Jason? Same goes for Christmas?
Same goes for Christmas. I mean, it's one parent, we celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. The other parent, I go to their house, or I go to that side of the family during Christmas Day, and I spend pretty much all day there. And then in the evening, I go back to the other parent, and we have like a little dinner, and then that's it. And then usually the day after the 26th is usually when I go home. But again, it's kind of echoing what Dr. Orlando said. My parents, they're very good at kind of making accommodations, because they really don't care. They both are kind of the mindset that it's just a day. Christmas is just a day. Thanksgiving is just a day. As long as they get some time. They don't really care if it's on the 24th or 26th or what have you. As long as they get some time, that's really all that matters.
Dr. Orlando.
So, I don't know how to answer any of these. My mindset, I think, is a little bit different, because I come from a tradition that doesn't have holidays and things like that. So for me,
Lucky?
Yeah, well, see, I feel like...
You avoid that. That's...
Well, you got to grow up being a Jehovah's Witness. That'll make sure that you don't have any of these crazy heathen holidays. Yeah. But because of that, I enjoy the tradition and the pomp and circumstance that surrounds the holidays. So, I look at the unpleasantness that comes from the day. I think that's just kind of the cost of doing business. And for me, being in 2 or 3 places that day, that's just an organization function. And so, yeah, for me, I think maybe just because I'm weird, I just don't have that bug that says I don't want to do this.
So these are just kind of the norm for you.
Well, again, like I think for most of them, yeah, the one that, or no, I'm sorry, the top two, yes.
Yeah.
C.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
That's the way I am as well.
I don't find a whole lot of unpleasantness around the holidays, and I will avoid staying at home in front of the fire if at all possible.
By unpleasantness, I mean some families don't have mad Uncle Fred or the mother-in-law from hell. Some families do, and I just you sort of can spend most of the year avoiding
that person.
Yeah.
But come
And their little dogs. Yes.
and their little dogs, quite literally. Chris, what about you? I mean, you can't very well go back to your in-laws because they're in China. It's a bit of a sort of trek.
Yeah. I mean, I've only been back there twice, but it's definitely a different experience. But with my family, it's kind of like a lot like Jason. As long as you kind of organize things up front, what happens on those holidays just kind of happens. So when I was a kid, both my grandparents lived in Topeka, so it was usually I spent Christmas Eve with one, and then would go visit the other one on Christmas Day. So I got lots and lots of presents, and we just kind of alternated Thanksgivings. Sometimes it was just me and my family at home. Sometimes it was with my dad's family. Then the next Thanksgiving would probably be with my next family. We've just kind of continued that as I've gotten older, that now it's like, okay, this Thanksgiving is going to be with just Lynn and me at home, and then Christmas we haven't really decided yet, although it's likely we'll go down to Wichita to stay with her her American family, and then like next Christmas was planning on going to see my sister in Portland, and we might rent a cabin on the coastline.
That sounds awesome.
And spend Christmas there for a few days, which is a lot of fun. And
Can we come?
Yeah.
well, I'll check with my family.
We're
but,
staying in a cabin at the bottom of the garden in England. Yes.
That sounds like a lot of fun. As far as the unpleasant goes, my dad's side of the family, there really wasn't a lot of unpleasantness. They were a family that you kind of made nice all the time,
But that's got to be a slightly unpleasant in itself, having to pretend to be nice.
Well, it's I guess it's led to problems later on because I didn't I guess learn bad habits from that side, but I learned bad habits from the other side because there was almost always unpleasantness going on. It didn't really matter; it had to be the holidays or anything like that. If a big group of my mom's side of the family got together, there's 8 brothers and sisters on that side.
There's a dick on the table, right?
Craziness happened, and you just kind of had to deal with it. And usually my strategy was, one of my uncle's strategy was, as the craziness happens, just go somewhere else. So
yeah, that's actually a good point, because I can remember being a kid, and I was just naive enough. Whenever the craziness happened, whenever the bad stuff happened, I really wasn't aware of it because I was in the other room playing with, my G.I. Joes or whatever. It seems that the older I've gotten, the more aware I am of the craziness, and then it's just like, yeah, I got to get the hell out of here.
Do you still play with your G.I. Joes on Thanksgiving?
No,
Not that he wants to share.
there you go.
The lovely Alina is with us again this week. Are you just visiting us this time, or are you going to stay for a little bit longer before?
Well, I can stay longer. I can stay longer this week. I did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I just wanted to know. So you come from a family where your dad didn't do Christmas as a kid, so you maybe didn't have Christmas.
I didn't know.
Yeah, right. Okay.
He never told me
did,
that.
Who knows? When you were little, right? Were you made to go to different places at Christmas and Thanksgiving? Would you have really rather stayed in your bedroom and done whatever it was that you were doing?
I think I would have rather done a lot of things than. I mean, I liked Christmas a lot, but it's always really crazy. Everybody in my family is really loud, and
Your dad's not loud.
you haven't noticed.
That is shocking.
I think my mom is loud and my sister is loud and I'm loud, and we get into tiffs. Maybe we do it in the privacy of a basement, and everybody else is upstairs having fun, and we just have yelling matches with each other.
That sounds like a good
Who, in
Thanksgiving.
fact, is the loudest female in your family? And we're here. There's like a number of guys here. We can keep your mother away from
We've
you.
only got like one listener, so
It's my mom. She has special songs that she sings when she's upset.
Really?
Yeah,
Will you
that's
share
what
with
she channels.
us?
It's just a lot of like, everyone's an idiot who didn't clean.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right.
That is fantastic.
I like that song.
Fascinating.
I love
so
that.
much newfound respect for you right
Can
now.
we just get around the tree and sing that? Yeah, okay.
I kind of want to actually invite you over to my family's Christmas, and just so you can do things like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to sing that in this next Thanksgiving when I've got a family of 50 people all gathered in a small 2-room place, and 2 of us are left cleaning up the dishes. Okay? I'm going to sing that song.
Oh, did Alina sing the song?
No. The Everybody's an Idiot song. I like it.
Wait a
Evo
minute.
is here.
Let's give Evo a second to turn off his porn.
Yeah, that's porn.
I don't know, but I'm
best
sure
kind?
somebody would watch it.
There's porn of everything on the internet.
Yeah.
So.
Let's do Kathleen next. Thank you, Alina. Let's do Kathleen next.
Well, I come from a very big family. Both sides, extensive. Not as big as Dr. Orlando, of course, because nobody's family is as big as Dr. Orlando's, so far as I
Let's
can tell.
hope not.
Yeah.
Good grief.
But now that I'm not in my 20s anymore, shall I put it that way? Yeah. And there's more and more grandkids and more generations coming along. The gathering is out of hand. We can't all get together. Things splinter. And so now a gathering that includes me is also likely to include 4 or 5 very elderly aunts and some very unpleasant sisters-in-law and with little doggies and things. And while I love seeing certain parts of my family, other parts I could do without. So sometimes I would like to go make a showing and then leave. I would love to leave. And if there's so many things to dislike about Thanksgiving. We are celebrating genocide, for God's sake.
Well, we'll come to that in a minute, but I would just like to ask. We're very fortunate to have Alina with us because she does stand up. Last time she had to leave. Will you stop eating my fish? I've got fish and chips
it's
here,
good.
ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. And she's stealing it.
Not anymore.
But Alina was just telling us that there is a family song.
This is a song I wrote about Thanksgiving
excellent.
when I was much younger.
Cool.
Let's put a microphone down near there.
Yeah, I don't know if that works. It's Thanksgiving time again, and your mom's been drunk since 10 a.m. Your grandma's trying to bring you back to Jesus, while your uncle chews tobacco and complains about the Mexicans, and slowly you realize that you were raised by racists. It's Thanksgiving time again, and your dad's been missing since 10 a.m. Your cousins decided that today's the day to tell your evangelical Christian aunt that he is gay. But don't you feel nostalgic as you warm your hands by the nice Thanksgiving fire of your house burning down? Your psychopathic brother lit it half an hour ago. It's Thanksgiving time again. God, I can't wait till Christmas.
Yay.
Very good.
Encore.
Very heartwarming.
It's heartwarming and many other things warming. Yeah.
Yes, it's
Now,
housewarming.
Mr. Evo, coming from the communist bloc as you did, damn commies, get a haircut. So, can you give our listeners any advice that you have on how to deal with the conundrums of being in 3 places at once? How to explain to family that you don't actually want to be with them, you'd rather be with friends? You know, avoiding mad auntie or mad uncle so-and-so, you know, or keep getting the kids out of the basement.
So this is about a question about complaining about Thanksgiving, is it? Like, what's wrong with it?
It's how to deal with it.
Oh, how to deal with it.
Yeah, we need advice from the sage
it's
and august
the easiest
Evo.
thing. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy. Industrial amounts of alcohol. That's all it
something
takes.
that is always present
Sometimes
at
lead to the
Thanksgiving.
problems.
That's kind of
Yeah.
a given.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's almost a requirement.
Yeah, it's the best thing in the world. Man invented the wheel and discovered the fire, and then brilliantly invented the basement. And that's what I do. At Thanksgiving, I sink deep into the bowels, into the dark bowels of my basement, the so-called man cave, and nobody can find me in it. I'm somewhere there. There's rumors. People say, hey, I've heard that Ivo is somewhere in the basement, but it takes effort to find me.
Oh, the privileges of being male. Women
Alcohol
don't get
plus
that
basement equals fantastic
And
Thanksgiving,
you guys
great
got to fight
family
off Harvey
celebration.
Weinstein too. So
option. I didn't invite him this year.
okay, good deal.
By the way, I avoid like the plague another thing about Thanksgiving, and that's food. I rebel against the gluttony of Thanksgiving.
You just don't
This-
like killing turkeys.
Well, yeah, I don't eat meat, but that's not. It's just the gluttony, the fact that people eat so much, so fast in a very short period of time. They eat too much. It's not necessary, and everybody feels like crap afterwards. Everybody feels horrible. There's just too much stuff. So what I do is I don't eat. I literally refuse to eat on Thanksgiving. I'm gonna have a drink.
It's also not the best food in the world. Turkey is pretty flavorless, really.
Yeah.
Stuffing is
Yeah.
green bean casserole.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
That
yes. Sweet
absolutely
potatoes with
disgusting.
marshmallows all over them. Who the hell thought that up?
There's really maybe one.
Jello salad?
Yeah.
Give me a break.
That green
Stuff
bean.
that tastes like pumpkin?
Yeah, the green bean cheese
Ugh.
casserole. That's like there's only maybe one or two things that distinguish it from puke. It's just pretty much the same thing. I mean, in terms of like visually.
It really depends
the
on how
optics.
you make it.
Optics are important.
If you're making it with your standard frozen green beans and canned cream of mushroom soup and that kind of stuff, then yeah, it's terrible. When I make it, I use fresh green beans. I make my own cream of mushroom soup. I've got my secret seasonings, and I think it's really, really good. But I know where you're coming from, because sometimes
this is about.
it does look really terrible.
This is
It very
about
much does, but that's
advice.
also why they make
Advice.
gravy. Just put gravy on
The
everything.
basement and alcohol. My
Right.
advice, yeah.
Now, I
And
think
not eating.
turkeys are a law unto themselves. We needn't go there. Stuffing.
Oh.
Stuffing is a piece of piss.
You
Sometimes
all
it
may have that
describes it
opinion.
perfectly.
Me personally, I love stuffing. If
What
it
is in
had
stuffing?
nutritional value, I could eat it every day.
What is in stuffing?
Some
Stuffing.
people boil up the giblets and use that as the moisture in it. That's the
Yep.
innards.
You don't need to know
Okay?
about that.
You don't want to know.
Stuffing's a piece of piss. What you do is you go to Aldi's.
Thank you for validating my opinion.
Yeah, you go to Aldi's. Now, definitely Aldi's. I don't mean anywhere else. I mean Aldi's, right? And there's Aldi's all over America, right? You go to Aldi's and you buy a couple of boxes of their stuffing. It is the best stuffing on the planet. Always has been. It's the best stuffing in England. It's the best stuffing in America. It's the best stuffing in Germany. And then once you've got that, you walk a bit further down the aisle and you pick yourself a can of chicken broth, or whatever it's called, chicken something or other. And there you have your if you want to upgrade it, chop up some celery and onion and fry that off a little bit, and then add in a whole shitload of butter.
We're putting some
and,
bacon.
And well, no, but I'm
My
telling
wife
you,
likes oysters in our
you can
stuffing.
you can go to all
yeah.
the stores
right.
around, any store you like. I don't care. They have not got stuffing off like Aldi's.
Shitload of Butter is a great name for a German porn movie.
We just walked straight by the rock band this time.
Yep.
Oh, there's a lot of things about Thanksgiving that a lot of people don't like. Have you guys ever heard of turkey dump?
That's what he was talking
Turkey
about.
Dump is a great name for a rock band.
Yeah, yeah. No, actually, turkey dump is
And it comes full circle.
a name for the time of year when kids come home from college and break up with their high school sweetheart.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's evidently a recognized phenomenon. That's what happens. You go for a part of a semester, realize you got better things on offer than your high school sweetheart, and you come home at Thanksgiving and you break up with them. It's a lot of broken hearts on Thanksgiving.
I'll admit, I've dumped a lady or two over Thanksgiving. I'll admit that.
Jason's talking about the same Thanksgiving.
Well, okay. I mean, let's not go there. I mean, clearly it was, but I mean, let's.
Or numbers of Thanksgiving in the same woman, or different women and the same Thanksgiving.
Can it be both?
Yeah. I mean, how many women have you done? What's your record? How many women on one Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I don't have that many fingers to count.
Ooh.
Whoa. Well, look. Okay, so good advice. But we never actually found out from Alina whether or not she goes down to the basement with her dad, or whether she wants to stay in a bedroom, or whether she wants to be in a completely different city on the other side of America.
I'm going to Chicago this year for Thanksgiving.
Are you?
Yeah.
And there's your answer.
So, I'm going to go hang out with my friends, and we're getting drunk and eating food. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, but we're having a Thanksgiving before that. We're having, because my uncle's getting married, so we're having a Thanksgiving around that time, and then I'm going back to Chicago, and then I'll have a Thanksgiving there.
Will you be doing stand-up over the holidays?
I think I have a show on November 30th.
Is that near Thanksgiving?
It's after Thanksgiving.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
I think getting
people ask me all the time, what do you do on Thanksgiving? When's Thanksgiving? What do you do on Halloween? Halloween's at the end of
The man's British. He doesn't know any of this stuff from Adam.
They say to me on July the 5th, what do you do on July the 5th? I don't know.
4th.
July the 4th.
Jeez.
What do you do on July the 4th? What are you grateful for? Huh? Which leads me on to the next one. Whilst on the subject of Thanksgiving, I am, as a foreigner, interested to know what and when exactly do our panelists give thanks for? For example, as sort of touching on Evo there, for example, how does one give thanks whilst all at the same time watching football, shoving turkey and ham in one's mouth and planning an early morning shopping trip the following morning? So how do you do that? Chris, how do we do that? Start with Chris.
A few times when I was a kid, my parents took me to a soup kitchen, and we helped sort clothes or serve homeless people during Thanksgiving time, which unfortunately is a tradition that I have not continued as I've gotten older.
You took homeless people's soup?
No, we did not take them soup. We went.
You took their soup?
No, we gave them soup.
That's a great Thanksgiving tradition. Take homeless people's soup.
Yes.
And sell it on eBay.
Well, my wife really loves soup, so
That's wonderful.
And I learned how to fold it from Steve Martin, so.
So that's a way of you to give thanks.
One way to
that is an excellent way to do it.
Appreciate, how lucky we have been in our lives and how unlucky lots of other people have been. And
so you actually do something to recognize.
I have in the past. I haven't done it, recently, and it's really something that's, as I was thinking about this question, realizing that something that I really should start to do again. I mean, because I've, upped my charitable giving as I made more and more as an engineer at Cessna. I would give more and more to charities just because, I was benefiting so well. But, I really should give a little bit more of my time as well to do something to help others.
Thank you, Chris, for making me feel totally superficial and worthless.
I'm sorry.
So, question though, Thanksgiving is a secular holiday. There's no religious tradition that goes behind Thanksgiving. But so I'm wondering are there any secular holidays that we celebrate for the sake of the holiday? And then, even taking a step further, even the religious holidays, do we even celebrate those for the purpose of the day? As we all celebrate Christmas in some way, shape, or form, but does that...
July 4th is a secular holiday.
Yeah, but I think going back to Jeremy's question, though, do we do anything on July 4th that is to...
We blow stuff up.
Yeah.
We shoot stuff, yeah. Is that...
We just
the
tend
most
to,
American
we tend to,
thing.
when people say, "What do you do on July the 4th?" we tend to walk around and say, "You're welcome."
Lou, to answer your question, no.
Yeah.
No, there really is no holiday that we actually truly celebrate the true meaning of that holiday.
Right.
Now there's some kind of capitalistic twist to it.
Yeah.
Well, so
In some
far,
way, shape,
Chris
or
is
form.
my hero. Jason, how do you give thanks, and what do you give thanks for?
First off, I usually don't.
And we try and tell the truth here.
I don't need a day to give thanks.
What? Tell the truth.
Something that always bothered me is you're supposed to give thanks for things in your life on Thanksgiving. I don't understand why you have to have one day and there's only one day a year where you're supposed to do this. You should be able to do this in any day.
That's a good
anytime.
point.
I thank my wife regularly for putting up with me and marrying me.
I mean,
We thank her for
that's
that,
not
too.
a reason to not do something
No,
on
but everybody
Thanksgiving.
else thanks her.
No,
for
it's
that,
not.
you
I
know?
mean, I can still get together with my family and we can sit there and play Cards Against Humanity and stuff our faces, and that's fine. But as far as giving thanks to the fortune of like having my family and friends in my life who help inspire me to do the things I want to do, I mean, I'm always thankful for that.
Right.
I have no problem telling them in any time. I don't necessarily need a specific day to do that.
Yeah, you do. And don't call me at 3 a.m. anymore.
Oh. But that's my favorite.
Or text me, and then rescind the text. I mean, it's very embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I will stop texting you. I will stop.
Please, yeah. I mean, my name's not Roy Moore, Evo,
He's not 14 either.
Evo, as a foreigner. What do you give thanks for? Do you give in your head, perhaps? Do you give thanks for anything on Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah,
when you're in
yeah.
the basement.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I had no idea what Thanksgiving was when I arrived, and
Join the club.
Yeah, and I had a friend of mine, and I was kind of taken aback when I first encountered Thanksgiving. It's like, what? Wait a second, you committed genocide against the Indians and kicked them out into those rocky reservations, and now you're celebrating and thanking them. And then I had a friend who unfortunately is no longer alive, and he's kind of laughed and kind of explained his own concept of Thanksgiving to me, which I really appreciated. He said something like that Jason touched on. He said, you don't do it in one single day. And he said, what I do is I just take a note of small things that I'm thankful for during the entire calendar year. And then when Thanksgiving comes, I read the list to myself that I've made. And he said those are little things, not necessarily the big things. Like, obviously we sit at the table and we say, I'm grateful my family's alive. I'm grateful, for, having a food and roof over my head. But no, he said, make a list of the tiny little things that you're really thankful for, and it's amazing the kind of stuff you end up looking back at. But like, for example, I'm thankful for this podcast.
I'm thankful that there exists an impeachment process.
There you go.
Slips.
A smile on somebody's face on the street. A lady that gives me occasionally free coffee at the quick shop. It doesn't charge me for my coffee. These little things that they remain unnoticed, but you put them together, and the sum of them kind of makes for a really fulfilling existence. And and you're looking around, you guys, your friendship, this podcast has been incredibly beneficial for me in terms of like therapeutically, and so I'm very thankful.
Yeah,
even for this like godforsaken place, Conroy's here, and the trivia, this horrible vortex of septic decay, and it's
sadness.
still,
Lovely name for a rock band.
Septic decay.
vortex of septic decay, VCD,
Actually, that sounds like the name of the tour.
VSD.
Yes, we like that. That's the septic decay tour.
So even this
Bingo.
place,
Bingo.
I am very thankful for. I'm thankful for what Conroy does, and Brennan, and the game, and everything. So
This would not be possible in a place that were more polished. Can you just imagine a big open place with waiters swanning around being, whatever waiters are, and
you can't, and you
we
shouldn't.
just couldn't do it.
Polish a turd.
completely forgotten what I was going to say then.
That should be the motto of this place. That's lovely.
You can't and you shouldn't polish it.
Yeah.
Another name for a rock band, Polished
I want to get a
Turds.
T-shirt that says that.
I've completely forgotten
Oh,
who I was
and
going
I'm
to
very, very
Unless it's
thankful.
fossilized.
By the way, I'm very, very thankful this year for the Alex Jones song that Alina came up with last week. And I cannot even explain the Alex Jones song. I really wish you can experience the Alex Jones song.
Is
and
it long?
I might ask Alina to play
Is
it right now.
Is it long?
No, it's like 30 seconds.
Can we know who he is?
Alex
Oh.
Jones. You don't know who Alex Jones is?
He's a right wing.
He's the crazy right-wing
Okay.
InfoWars
Yeah.
Lizard people.
He
maniac.
writes songs.
No, Alina wrote a song about him.
Are you willing to let us hear the Alex Jones?
Do you
She
remember?
might have to stand up. She stand up. I'll move the mic.
So I don't
Be
know.
ready for a
Stand up,
scream.
please.
Right.
I don't
Do you
need to
need another
stand.
microphone?
I didn't
you can
think
do it sitting?
I didn't think this was gonna happen.
But you know, you're
Okay.
an artiste. You can do this.
You gotta move away a little
Okay.
because it's gonna be hard without standing up.
She's an artiste.
All right. Okay, so for this song, I need you to imagine that instead of a 57-year-old, 275-pound coke addict, Alex Jones is a 23-year-old ukulele player.
All right. Right.
Okay.
So if we
Done.
can just parallel universe. Alex Jones, ease your weary bones. Why are you so mad? Why are you so sad? All right, folks, here it goes. The lizard Illuminati is real. They're real, and they've infected every McDonald's on this side of the 405. And Lizard Taylor Swift stole my French fries. Alex Jones, ease your weary bones. Why are you so mad? Why are you so sad? All right, okay, this is real this time. Shannon at the demonic Sonic. Shannon stole my tater tots. 666. That's $6.66 for one thing of tater tots. Alex Jones, ease your weary bones. I figured it out. Pause the Zapruder film. Pause the Zapruder film. It was baby Hillary Clinton. Baby Hillary Clinton murdered JFK on the grassy knoll with her toddler arms. Why are you so mad, Alex Jones?
I had never understood that whole.
See, I'm
Hillary
thankful for
Clinton
that.
thing, yeah.
Hey, Eric, can we change our theme music?
The direction of the bar. Everyone's just like, what is going on back there?
People looking around the corner, you know.
Fantastic.
Do you have much problem with law enforcement? You know.
I have probably no.
Okay, so because Alina's here, we'll move on to the next subject because I'm really interested in what she thinks about this. Being someone who is in their 20s, which is very young today, and the question is: should law enforcement have the ability to force cell phone manufacturers to unblock an encrypted cell phone in certain circumstances? So let's start with Alina. What do you think? Do you think that in maybe, I don't know, shooting or terrorism or something like that, who knows what, should they have the ability to force the manufacturer of the cell phone to decrypt it? Because, you know, if we block our cell phones, most of the police don't have people who are sufficiently bright to be able to do that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how difficult it is to hack into somebody's cell phone as it is, but I don't know if it's necessarily a great idea to let law enforcement into everybody's cell phones. They're already tracking us. via all sorts of means. They're tracking activists via Facebook, and I mean, I don't know how comfortable I would feel.
Well, for instance, if you live and work in Chicago and you're down here just a little bit, and let's say there was some sort of incident. It's generally known as, like the Boston bombing, for instance, or whatever.
Sure.
And you knew that the powers that be have a cell phone. They can't get into it, but they think that there's another device somewhere.
I guess it depends on how much you trust, like, the powers that be.
Right.
I trust them implicitly. I don't even understand what you're talking
implicitly
about.
Trust the powers.
Yeah.
You're lying,
I don't.
How are we friends?
Wasn't there a case relatively recently? Was it with the Boston Marathon?
No.
Well, it was the shooting out in was out in California,
in San Bernardino.
Yeah, they wanted to get into the phone, and they were trying to force Apple to
club.
do it, and they eventually found somebody to do it.
But see, I think Apple didn't decrypt the phone because, and I firmly believe they didn't do it because it was incredible advertisement for them. They were saying, basically the government was saying, we need you to help us crack the phone, and Apple was gloating because they were saying, look at us. FBI, CIA, NSA cannot break into our encryption protocol. That's how good we are. Every second that they couldn't break into the phone was great advertisement for them. So,
it's a valid point.
Yeah.
And it's a great, deal for privacy. From my concern is I don't want a backdoor into my device because that just means that everybody in the world has access to my device, that I want strong encryption because just recently, we're dealing with the NSA has been hacked, and tools that the NSA was using to spy on people are now in the hands of criminals who want to basically go in, lock up all your data, and then force you to pay them Bitcoin to unlock your phone or your computer, or they've targeted hospitals, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We call those people that do the bad stuff that we like to do and call it good, we call those people bad actors. So when the good actors are hacking all your shit, it's for your protection. When the bad actors do it, then it's evil.
Or in the president's word, that's another small business gone down the pan. Yes. So, Dr. Orlando, what do you think?
I agree 100% with my esteemed friend Alina Ivanov. There is no problem if you trust the powers that be to behave in an upright and proper manner.
That's a big if.
We have enough history with our own government, not to say all the other governments that have ever existed, to know that anytime you give anybody power, it corrupts. So, I am firmly in the camp that I do not want to give any institution carte blanche to access my personal private information.
I agree with that as well.
Don't you think that's a little naive in these days? Everybody's already got your personal information.
Well, again, the question is, do I acknowledge that there's way more out there about me than I'm comfortable with? Yes, and I rail against it routinely. But that is different than to say, I'm going to turn around and give the government this leverage that they can use however they see fit.
I'm going to make them work for it.
Yeah, and it's different to say that, okay, this is my web browsing history. This is, the traffic data that, the cell tower pings that my device has done, stuff that I've given to third parties. However, any other sensitive documents on here, like say I use this to do a little work on my taxes, or I'm writing some kind of stories or a novel on this device, that's the kind of stuff that I want to keep my own, and what we wrote the Fourth Amendment to protect. So the stuff that's kind of normal, that if I'm driving around doing stuff, somebody can see all that because I'm out in the public. But when I'm in my house and there's stuff that I want to keep private, then there are ways for me to keep it private, and I want to make sure that I keep it private.
I find that fascinating, that you find that there's a difference between being able to track every move your car makes, which is completely possible with modern technology. They have where you've gone, what your car has done. You're fine with that, but you don't want them accessing something you do in your house. I just don't understand the distinction.
I think they need a warrant for that because before cell phones, if the police wanted to put a tracker on your phone, which they had, back in the 60s, they had to get a warrant and talk to a judge and say, we think this guy's doing bad stuff. Mm-hmm. We want to track his movements. And I just listened to a podcast today about this and getting cell phone ping data and showing that this guy was close enough to these cell phone robberies that he was convicted of this, and it's going to go before the Supreme Court.
Can I just jump in for just a second? I just want to point out that what you're talking about is actually much, much older than Fourth Amendment. Like, we have always, as long as we've had common law, this is like one of the things that American Britain shares, this notion of privacy. Privacy has always been integral to living in a society with other people. This notion that you have to be able to keep all of your personal business out of everybody else's. But yes, tell me more about this podcast. What was the podcast you were watching or listening to?
I'd have to look at it again. Trying to remember if it was Planet Money or if it was. I think it was Planet Money. Or no, shoot, I can't remember now which one it was. I'd have to go back and check my iPod.
Just ask the government; they'd know.
Yeah, it's interesting. You brought up common law just now. Between an American law is basically a modernized version of Old English law. But one of the things that surprised me coming here was how open the society is. So, for example, I remember once someone I didn't like very much saying, well, we can find out all about your financials. No, you can't. You can in America, yes. But don't be thinking that you can get into my bank account in the UK. The ordinary plods can't do that. A court order might get you into them if the judge thinks there's a really good reason, and we're talking about sort of murder.
What if you're the president of the United States?
What do you mean?
Can you get your financial information if you're the president? No.
No. Well, I mean, in England, no. I mean, that's the point. It is absolutely sacrosanct. And it's interesting, you take voting, for example, same thing. If there's voting irregularities, you're not dealing with the local police. You're not even dealing with the feds. You're dealing with a very small and extremely unpleasant part of Her Majesty's security services. And you are going to go to prison for a long time. This isn't, oh dear, we made a mistake. It's serious stuff. So America is a very much more open society, I think, than Americans think it is.
So I have I agree with you. I think that we are much, yes, it pains me, but yes, I agree with you.
Well, I
I think that it comes down to the almighty dollar. I think that companies figured out, I'm going to say 60, 70 years ago, that they can generate a lot more money from us if they can anticipate and even go so far as to determine what we want. Again, this is the point where I bring up Edward Bernays in the podcast, the guy that invented propaganda.
And they do this through fear more than any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Edward Bernays.
Ed Bernays, yes. He's the guy that the reason that, well, we've talked about him on this podcast before. I talk about him every time I get a chance. But he's the guy that basically came up with the when you talk about a banana republic somewhere, that's Edward Bernays.
And when did he do this?
I can't remember off the top of my head. It was after World War II, or after World War I. Basically, because of Edward Bernays, we moved from we moved to a throwaway society. Before that, things like flour companies would package their flour in with designs on the package so that the package could be reused. Edward Bernays was one of the first guys that came along and said, you know what, you'll make more money if you sell smaller increments of flour in disposable packages that people can't use again. Just little things like that had profound and significant impacts on us as a society.
Well, I have in my basement, because that is the appropriate place for it, an autographed lithograph of the first spin doctor, Joseph Goebbels.
That band sucked.
Yeah.
It was a horrible band.
His name was Joseph Goebbels.
He had an autograph, lithograph.
And as far as I'm concerned, he was the first guy to come up with this sort of stuff as to how to manipulate people, and certainly if they'd had cell phones in those days, right, Goebbels would have been in them.
Right.
No time.
No, understood completely. Yeah.
Kathleen, what do you think?
I don't know what to think about it. I really think that privacy is incredibly important, and it's a lost cause.
I agree. Actually, 100%. Like, when I first thought about going to law school, this is, 20 years ago, my idea was that
And
I
you
was
still haven't graduated yet, have you?
Fuck me.
Well, we just started.
20 years
My
ago.
idea was that I was going to become a privacy advocate because we didn't have any hard and fast privacy protections other than, like I said, like a basic invasion of privacy tort. But yeah, I've kind of given up on that because we've gone so far the other way. We literally give our information away to social media
If
platforms.
only the founding
Pendulum will
fathers
swing back.
had thought to add an amendment that instead of just saying something like, you got to have well-regulated militias, if they had thought to say, you got to have privacy in all electronic matters.
And no dick pics. Yeah.
They did.
They did.
Have a lot more people in this country stand up for it.
Can we make an amendment for that? No dick pics?
Can I throw another question at you guys? If you visit, and I know that Jason has, and Ivo has, and I have, I'm not sure, Kathleen has. If you visit London,
He didn't bring up the black guy. Did you notice that? He did not mention the black guy.
well, because you didn't go, did you?
No, I didn't go. But that's
just
still.
forgot
If
about it.
I've only been in London for about 4 hours. So.
Right, but when you arrive in the middle of London, you are on camera. And
TV everywhere.
unless you're actually in a building, if you're walking around, you are on camera,
Yes.
and that's that.
So smile.
We're done.
Did people?
You're seeing America become more and more like
but-
that.
Yes, but the Americans are complaining about it.
They are.
And one of the things that I find hilarious is if you ever get to an international airport, say JFK, and you're bored because you've got a long time to wait for your flight, go along to the El Al check-in. It's hilarious. As Americans, the Israeli airline.
Yeah.
As Americans who are going to Israel for the first time have to go through what Europeans and Israelis are used to.
Yeah.
And they're shocked at the level of security that we take as normal.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering,
That's been my experience going into Europe. I mean, I've flown into Spain recently. I flew into Italy recently, and it was nothing like going through what you come through in the United States. And
they've
Italy,
been doing it for so long you didn't see. Trust me, you were on camera all the time.
Well, if I'm in a public space, I don't have a problem with being on camera. I mean, if I'm out in the street, anybody can see me. So actually having a camera there, that's not an expectation of privacy for me. So,
but Israel is a different story. Israel is they don't do cavity check. They do cavity check. They check your cavities.
And they question you 2, 3, 4 times to make sure your story is always the same as you go through. Yeah, and
you don't mind walking down the street and you're on camera.
If I'm out in public,
if you're out in public, I mean, that's just...
Then there's no expectation of privacy. If I don't want to be on camera, I don't have to go out in public.
Just like Chris said, I mean, if I'm out in public, everybody who's out in public can look and see me.
Yeah, the cops can come around and see me and follow me if they think I look suspicious. That's, the way of the world. But, if I go into my home, they got to get a freaking warrant.
Yeah.
They got to actually have probable cause to come into my home. Or to get into my device.
Dr. Orlando.
I got a completely different take on it. Like the problem for me with cameras being everywhere is that everything that you do can therefore be recorded and saved in perpetuity. If there is a reason for government, and there is a difference between the government, essentially the sovereign authority for the land that you're in, having this kind of information against you versus Best Buy having the information of what you buy in your store. They're two distinctly different things. And when the sovereign nation says that we need to keep track of everything all of our citizens do in case we don't like what our citizens do later, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I agree with. That's a different question, though. That's the question of, because I don't think you're ever going to get to the point where you record everything and save it forever, because number one, you'll never be able to create enough memory to store it all. Number two, that memory is going to degrade over time. There's absolutely no way that anything that ever gets saved is going to be saved forever.
You just said cloud computing does not exist.
No, I didn't say it didn't exist, but all those servers, they eventually degrade. They're all moving parts. They're all generating a ton of heat.
How do we deal with that now?
What do you mean deal with that now?
The information that's stored in the cloud. How do we not lose the stuff that's in the cloud now?
Well, we will, because it will rain.
Eventually some of it gets just kicked out. Number one, because, you've got a document from 30 years ago that nobody's ever looked at.
Right.
In 30 years, someone somewhere says, nobody's looked at this document for 30 years. No one needs it anymore. No need to hold it anymore because we don't want to buy another server to keep this one particular document that's nobody's ever looked at.
Yes, but
unless, of course, your name's Roy Moore. Here's the thing, I think it's a little unfair, actually, on Roy Moore, because even if he did have it away with a 15-year-old, right, and
14.
so on, or 14, how can he possibly be expected to remember every intimate second? But Alina, can I ask Alina?
Well, hang on a second.
No.
I have to.
You really thought you were going to get away with that?
Now, okay, watch this.
I want to watch this. Oh yeah, there you go.
That just made the show. That just made the
Spoils
show.
it by enjoying that.
Now, I want to ask Alina. Alina, you're more than 21 and a lot less than 30 because we don't give ladies ages away.
23.
She's 23. All right, she's 23.
That's fine.
So, God willing, if you believe in God and anything else, you've got maybe at least another 60 years on the planet.
I hope so.
Yeah,
hopefully.
all things
That'd
being
be
equal,
nice.
Which is a lot longer than most of us. What do you think about this? You know, at the moment you can be filmed walking down a lot lot
But
say
not just by some strange guy.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
talking about
not
the
like on
people.
iPhones.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that happens too, but yeah.
Yeah.
And that might be fun or
frightens
not
me
fun,
even
depending
more.
on who you are. But the upshot, what I'm trying to get at is, in 40 years' time, they're going to know what you're doing every moment of the day. They're going to know what lavatory paper you use. You know, do you see what I mean? We don't know what people are going to be doing in 40. You may have something in your arm by then.
Oh, right, the implants.
Yeah, well, I mean, so they're going to be able to follow you everywhere, whoever they are.
They already do that because most people carry their cell phone with them all the time.
Are you going to use it?
I mean, as long as you're carrying your cell phone, or if it's on your person, or something like that.
Some of us have two devices.
Yeah, but
but you don't actually take it into the loo with you, do you?
If it's in your pocket, you do.
If it's in your pocket.
If it's in my backpack, then
What do you read in the bathroom?
There's
Yeah, man.
Jeez. I don't ever go to the bathroom without it.
There's actually an app where you can geographically mark each bathroom you use and rank the bathroom.
That's
Public
wow.
bathroom.
I know what I'm doing after
This
this
is
show.
why we
if you
need young people on our
If you
show.
choose to give
Too much information
if
running
you want
through
to
my
be part
brain.
of data
Too much
aggregation,
information
you can tell
driving
people
me insane.
which loo you use. But
Well
but
done.
that's not.
He's
Did you
speechless.
choose to be
You did it.
That's
You
not-
did it. You made him speechless.
Bravo.
It's never been done before.
Bravo.
You
Excellent.
mean people can know where I poop?
If you want them to.
What an excellent idea.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm gonna go
I
ahead and tell
love
you. I
that.
don't want to
How do I
know.
get-
I really
You
don't.
don't want to know.
I don't want to know where you poop.
I thought you said
I don't. No, I'm good, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Dude.
I am imagining the webpage right now. Where's Jeremy pooping today?
Is that like a graphic map? It's going to be a map.
Just call
It's
it.
like Google Maps.
Just call that webpage Jeremy Poops.
JeremyPoops.com.
There it is.
Yes. Can someone look that up
Jeremy.
immediately?
Jeremy Poop's a great
Buy
title
that
for
site.
a kid's children's book. Yeah.
JeremyPoops.com. That's actually one of the most wonderful things I've heard for a long time. Yes.
I'm going to get you a T-shirt that says that.
JeremyPoops.com.
Just JeremyPoops.com.
Yeah. And then we could have the JeremyPoops.com tour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. I just want to see the faces of people when they read your shirt. And
St. Louis cancelled.
Like, what the hell is that real?
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea. Yes. Golly gosh. Well, all right. Well, so we still haven't actually, interestingly, answered the question. Should law enforcement have the ability to force a cell phone manufacturer in an emergency, you know, to...
I think we've answered it quite well.
To unblock an encrypted
We've all
cell
said
phone.
we have no idea.
I say no.
Okay, he says no. The rest of us say we don't know. He
I would
says
say no,
too.
but it's going to happen whether we want it to or not.
I mean, I liken it to the cops come across a killer or evidence that there's a killer, and they find a bunch of encrypted writings, a la the Zodiac killer. That's basically the same thing. It's stuff that they don't particularly understand, and maybe they can figure it out, maybe they can't. But they can't force the company to unlock the phone because they encrypted it for a reason.
Okay.
All right. You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed. I'd like to quickly ask Ivo if he could, as he always does, thank our sponsors, including Mr. Conroy.
Yes.
Who particularly have we had sponsoring tonight's show, Ivo?
Our sponsors today is Orbitz, because they've been gone since 1997, but not forgotten. And who doesn't need a drink that has the consistency of the mucus of the face hugger from Aliens, and also has hundreds of chunks of pure cholesterol floating in it. Also, each of the organic ingredients in Orbitz can star as a villain in any of those Final Destination movies. And finally, Orbitz today does not provide any funding or drinks for that matter for our show. What it does provide is a very powerful and long-lasting gag reflex, and also that rarest of feelings that there is a product in this world that's more repulsive than anything on the menu at Conroy's.
But it has to be said that if you want some, all you have to do is ask quietly for Mr. Conroy, slip him a few dollars, and he will produce some from underneath
Orbits.
From underneath the thing. Want to thank our producers and engineer Neil Rasmussen, and of course Eric,
who's had a haircut, I think.
Who's had some
Eric,
sort
the
of. He's had some sort of.
Oh, very
He's
It's very tight.
Eric's got a date.
I like it.
Dangerously
Eric's
handsome.
got
You
a
are
date.
dangerously handsome today, sir.
Yes.
Eric's got a date. We want to know who the woman is. So thank you for that. Would like to thank the team, of course, Kathleen.
No. I am growing out the back of my hair a la Oklahoma State head football coach Mike Gundy. He's bringing back the mullet.
Oh,
It is a thing.
Because you're a man.
Oh, no.
I'm a man, and I'm almost 40.
Yes.
You're a man, and he's almost
the
40,
mullet.
and he's going to have a mullet. Well, good for you.
God.
Like to thank Alina for jumping in again. Thank you for doing that, Alina. Kathleen, Jason, Chris Magerkurth, Dr. Orlando, and, of course, the man with the, literature and the pheromones and all that sort of thing.
Thank
He'll
you.
be going home to hang upside down
Yes.
the Transylvanian Dark Lord of Literature and Pheromones, Ivo Ivanov.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And thank you, everybody. My name's Jeremy Taylor, the Brit on your radio.